Okay. Welcome everybody to today's interview with Mr. Patrick D. Porter of EVAIO, a vehicle or automobile software for electrical cars based on blockchain. So before we go ahead, I would like you, Mr. Porter, to tell us about your time with Tesla and how was it like working at Tesla?
My time at Tesla extended from 2012 to 2017.
Okay.
And I joined therefore in the very early days of Tesla. And I was their EHS&S manager for Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Can you kindly let us know what EHS&S fully means?
Environmental, health, safety, sustainability, and security.
All right, that's fine.
And by having the title, I was responsible for 127 locations divided in 17 countries. And it was a big adventure because nobody knew anything about lithium-ion batteries and nobody knew about working with electrical vehicles, but also with the new innovation that electrical vehicles could bring to the people. That was also the time in which I found out that the world is needed of new things to make life easier. Because when we are now traveling or when we are moving ahead, we always carry a load of material and equipment with us to make sure that we can pay our bills or get what we want. And that gave me a little bit insight about what an electrical car could do for us in the future, but also what we need to have in order to get there. The electrical car is also easier to drive autonomic, which means without a driver. And what I and my team have been providing is an application to make driving autonomic and being on the road easier.
All right. Thanks for the brief introduction about yourself. But at which point in your journey with Tesla did you realize that you had to leave to set up EV?
Okay. The moment that I decided to leave Tesla was the moment that I saw that everything that I wanted to achieve within Tesla and Tesla with me had come to an end whereby new innovation was stopped and routine was coming in.
It's a bit surprising that you say innovation had stopped at Tesla and routine had come in, because in the world we know Tesla to be one of the most innovative companies, and it's a bit strange that at a point it felt like innovation had paused at Tesla. Will you be able to tell us a bit more about that?
Innovation is about the technology and about what you do with the technology.
Okay.
Innovation that is currently happening is building more on the basis of that first step. And that first step was getting batteries into a battery and create energy in such a way that cars can move on it, or that we can pull heat out of the air, put it into a wall connector, and get that wall connector connected to your car. That is the innovation. But what you see currently happening within Tesla, they create a new car, but the basic concept remains the same. It's a battery attached car, attached to a vehicle to drive. So that innovation did not change. Yes, the change is also there that new battery types are being explored and being used, but it is still the same, it's using a battery. So for me, that was the point in which I say the innovation about using a battery for an electrical car to drive a car has stopped. Looking further, if you look to what Tesla is doing in software technical point of view, it's also still the same. It is creating an over-the-air transaction and putting software into a car. That is all the same. It doesn't matter if you do that in a Model 3, a Model X, or a Model S, or as of tomorrow, a Model Y.
All right, that's quite interesting, and thanks for the explanation. Can you probably tell us a bit more about your EV project and what it's all about?
Well, my EVAIO project has to do with data that is created by the car. Currently, when you are bringing your car back to a garage, the garage is using the data between first maintenance and second maintenance and sell that behind your back. Over more than $750 million is sold via that way to car companies. And I thought, by having the new world and the new environment of electrical cars, why don't we sell this data and make the ones that create the data better? Meaning, the owner of a car that creates the data should benefit from the data that he creates. And that is something different from the past, whereby the car maker or the maintenance car maker is getting the money back. So our product is a data collection product in many ways. We create a situation whereby the owner can say, this private data cannot be sold and this data can be sold. So they have ownership of the complete data set. The ones that they want to sell is the one that I will bring back to the market for selling. And then based on who is interested for this data, we will receive money for that, which we will bring into the company again and make sure that the token where we pay all with is going to be increased in value, whereby it is a return on investment for the buyers and for the ones selling the data. So you can say EVA owners basically earn money just by driving and using the EVAIO apps.
Okay, so basically, you're saying that EVAIO applications would be installed in the electric vehicles where owners drive. Is that the case?
Correct. And I want to do this before cars get sold.
Can you please repeat that?
I want to have this application being installed before new cars are being sold. So
okay.
Pre-installed.
Okay, so basically, EVAIO applications will be pre-installed in vehicles at their manufacturing points.
That is what I want, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it can also be done after the market. Okay.
So a driver can either have it pre-installed in the vehicle or installed after buying or after purchasing the vehicle. From what you say, it sounds as if EVAIO applications are mostly meant for electrical vehicles. Will we at a point install this application of yours in non-electrical vehicles?
Yes, it can be done, but only when there is an over-the-air transaction possible. So you need to have connection with either 4G network or 5G network.
Okay, so either way, the vehicle has to be digitally enhanced. Either ways.
Yes.
Okay, and you mentioned the fact that users or owners of vehicles that are installed with EVAIO softwares get to earn from the sale of data recorded by the vehicles they drive. Right.
Yes.
So which means by virtue of purchasing EVAIO software, the person gets to own EVAIO tokens, right?
Yeah, the point is that not every government is allowing me to give you money for data that you sell to me, because tax needs to be deducted and all that stuff.
Exactly.
So in order to avoid the tax issues, we have said, okay, instead of giving you dollars or other currencies, we give you a crypto coin with a value.
Okay.
And that crypto coin is called EVA.
Okay.
And because we are new on the market, the value of the token on this moment when we bring it to the market will be around 3 to 5 cents. But the more people that are using the data, the more people that are using our apps, And the more data that I can sell will make sure that we can increase the value of that token. And that can then be used for all purchases or services that will pass along when you are driving anonymous on the road with your car.
All right. In one breath, you mentioned that EV tokens holders of EV tokens would be able to earn when you sell data based on the tokens they hold. And in another breath, you mentioned that you'll be able to make use of EV tokens in the purchase of goods and services. So I'm a little confused here.
Yes.
Does this make what category of tokens the EV tokens fall into? Is it a utility token or a security token?
Or it is what? What's the last one?
Let me repeat. I said in one breath, you mentioned that EV token holders are able to earn based on the data sold from the data collected in the vehicle they drive. And then you also mentioned that the same tokens can be used for the purchase of goods and services. So I would like to know, are EV tokens security tokens or are they utility tokens, or they're somewhere in between both token classifications?
In first instance, it will be a normal equality token, but we are aiming for a security token in the future. Okay,
I see. That sounds interesting. The EVIO, excuse me, EVIO application, is this a normal application or a decentralized application?
It is a decentralized application running on decentralized servers.
What is the advantage for it being being decentralized? What was the reasoning behind this?
Well, the decentralization means that it is multiple people controlling the data and also the transactions in the data, whereby not one person can determine what will happen with the data, but also not one person can determine what to do with the value of the token or with the tokens. So each owner is also going to be responsible for transactions in the community. And that's what we call nodes, because every car has its own computer, and more or less every car's computer is generating the transaction between one and the other. We call that smart contracts.
Okay. All right. So basically, the DAPP will be based off it. I want to believe it to, from mentioning smart contract, I want to believe it to be based off either one of these smart contract blockchains, Ethereum, probably Ethereum, or it's possible to be Stratis, or which blockchain are you using?
We are using the Ethereum.
Okay, that's fine. I read your white paper, right? And from the white paper, I got the sense that your application benefits self-driving vehicles more than the ones that we drive manually. Is that the case?
No, it's not the case, but we would like to be an innovative, and therefore we will use the term autonomic driving as being the future plan for our platform. However, currently the cars that are driving with a man behind the wheel are as good to be used as the ones without a man behind the wheel.
I see. Do you think that EVIO's technology is ahead of its time?
Yes, yes. And I will tell you why. Currently on the market, we are the only ones that are thinking about this and are working about this, that the data that is being generated comes back in money to the owner of the car. There are companies that are selling parts of the data, like the usage of the tire or the usage of the brakes, but not the complete package. And if they do this without the knowledge of the owner.
I see. I mean, that sounds interesting, though. So, are you already on the market? Are you working with some vehicle producers, manufacturers? Have you tested the technology?
I'm on this moment in contact with 3 car manufacturers, one in the US, one in the United Kingdom, and one in China. And we are in the process of either getting 1 or 2 cars to test or to buy 1 or 2 cars to test. First of all, I got my own Tesla. So yes, my car will be the first that we will use for testing.
Okay, so I mean, as it stands, you are yet to fully test the application to know what the challenges would be when it is in full operation.
Yeah, I have to admit that on this moment, our programmers are still busy with programming the complete application. But on this moment, like everybody else is suffering with investments, and that's what I'm looking for, because the first investment budget that we received is almost empty.
I see. But at the moment you are currently selling tokens ahead in anticipation of raising more funds to make sure that the project comes into fruition. I want to believe so.
Yeah, no, the point is that on this moment, a private sale is busy to get investors in that will get for their investment tokens in return against a cheaper price so that they can make money out of it.
All right. Do you have plans of probably somewhere in the future manufacturing your own vehicles instead of having to wait to install your software on third-party vehicles along the way?
No. I'm not going to manufacturing cars.
I see.
I'd rather be a partner. Rather be a partner in a manufacturing site than creating my own. I've seen the trouble that Elon had to suffer by creating an own car, and I don't want that.
I believe Elon is maverick. It's a maverick by himself, so it's understandable. He is built for that, and he's done that several times and proving that. Yes. So where do you see EVAIO in the next 5 years?
We will be installed in about 10 million cars all around the globe, and the token will increase from the 5 cents that it's currently to what I think maximum 50 cents, 50 cents. We will be able to have, let's say, a community that is favored for our tokens because it can be used on several other things. Our token can also be used for registering or hotels or anything else. Our team, however, is not going to grow. I think our team needs to be what it is on this moment, around 5 to 10 people max. We will have, however, more expertise coming in on specific areas, like our CTO that we need to find in is going to be a tough guy. He's on this moment already working for us as a consultant, but I also want to have him on board as a fixed partner. Our business development manager and marketing manager will need to be more specific to the outside world. And we also have a signed manager who is going to have discussions with manufacturing sites. Together, that team, that will be the basic. And then, of course, we have our developers and our people that do the backgrounds.
Okay, that's great. Hopefully we would see EVAIO in the space in the next 5 years, considering that it seems like a niche market in which you're entering into. And I'm just trying to look forward to how it will play out, and would remember that the story began from this place in the next 5 years, where we could point to proudly and say we're part of your story. Lastly, before we leave, in your white paper, you made mention of decentralized vehicle home charger sharing system. I would like you to touch on that a bit so we could understand what that particular process is and how it works for the market and the vehicle industry as a whole, especially the electrical vehicle industry.
Say that again, because I lost you halfway.
Okay. I mentioned that through your white paper, I saw you would also be conducting the centralized vehicle home charger sharing system.
Oh yeah, for the world.
Expand on that for us.
Okay. If you have the data available and you have the connections, then it should also be available and possible to have the wall connector connected to a car that is coming to charge electricity. So a small contribution for our application would be that the small hardware will be installed in the wall connector to make sure that it can communicate with the car that is on its way to get charged, which is not my own car. So for instance, you live in an apartment flat and you want to drive electricity car, then you have no possibility to do electrical charging. So halfway, you notice that you need to have electricity. But guess what? You see a house on your map saying that Patrick is living there and he has a wall connector on the outside of his wall, of his house. Then you drive to that wall connector, it gets connected, and through a millisecond, there is a smart contract generated whereby electricity moves from the house into the car, and from the car, the tokens are being paid to the house. That is what we foresee with the wall connector.
So basically, users of the EVAIO software can also become charging stations for electrical vehicles and also earn some revenue from that.
Yes, yes. And as a matter of fact, while we are talking, and when you said correctly that you are one of the first that had in contact with us when we are successful in the 5 years, I'm on this moment waiting for a prize to be gained for the Dubai blockchain competition. And if that's been going well, we will go to Dubai and to see if we can install EVAIO in Dubai in a couple of manufacturing sites, but all being supported by the government of Dubai.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. We would follow up with that news and see how it goes, and so we can probably make it known to the world, because I mean, such innovations are what we need in today's world.
Yeah.
To be able to, I mean, get a more convenient world for everybody.
And the last thing I'm very proud of.
Yeah.
The last thing I'm very proud of. Last year, EVAIO was elected as the most innovative blockchain company, and myself was elected as the best CEO of an innovation company of 2018 in the blockchain.
My congratulations.
So we are
sir.
very proud of having our product, our product be measured and be recognized. And I also would like to thank you for the possibility to give advertisement to our company, and let's see how you bring this to the market.
Thank you very much, Mr. Porter. Thanks for your time. I mean, basically, we're trying to do our best for the blockchain industry to ensure that blockchain is used right for everybody, so we can all see the benefit of it. Thanks for your time, sir.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you too.
Okay.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.